Hello folks, Brandon here with Slingmods.com, and today we have our LED front fender reflector kits for the Can-Am Ryker. If you've been following along with our channel, you know that we launched a front fender LED reflector kit for the Can-Am Spyder in late 2019. Now that kit was such a huge success that several of our Ryker customers requested a kit for the Ryker. So we immediately got the ball rolling with our friends over at Trick LED to bring you a front fender reflector kit made specifically for the Can-Am Ryker. Now as you know, the Ryker comes with a factory yellow reflector located here, which doesn't illuminate, as well as this lovely little red reflective sticker that I'm pretty sure we had on our 10-speed from the 80s. And since we know our customers like options, we split the Ryker LED reflector kits into two different products. The first kit is our amber LED reflectors up top. These are custom molded to be an exact replacement to the OE reflectors and feature both a daytime running light as well as sequential turn signal functionality when you engage the turn signal. Now since we like to keep things as simple as possible here at Slingmods, we made sure that this kit is 100% plug and play and uses OE style connectors for a straightforward wiring installation. Now if you want to take things up a notch, we also have our custom molded red LED reflector kit that mounts to the back side of the fender and also features both a daytime running light as well as turn signal functionality that mirrors the amber LED reflector on the top side of the fender. This red add-on kit is also 100% plug and play and simply integrates with the same wiring harness as Kit 1 with this 1 into 2 Y splitter. But remember, you must already have the amber LED reflector kit in order to add on the red LED reflector kit. And in case you're wondering, yes, both of these new LED reflector kits feature DOT style reflective lenses so that when your Ryker ignition is off in park, they'll still reflect light like the original reflectors did. Now before we get into the install process, we understand that a good majority of Ryker owners are not comfortable with removing the front wheels of the Ryker due to the crazy torque specs required for the center wheel nut. So with that in mind, we're going to show you how to do the install without removing the Ryker wheels. Start by taking some masking tape and covering the top portion of the A-arms. Then using a 13mm socket, remove these 4 fender bolts. Now you can carefully slide the fender over and rest it on top of your A-arms. Next, use a heat gun and pry tool to remove this top yellow reflector. And then unscrew this T20 torque screw that was behind the reflector, as well as these 2 from the underside that hold the front tip light in place. Now you can unclip the tabs from underneath and slide that front tip light straight out and just push down on the small tab to release the wire clip. Next, grab this harness from the kit and slide on the shrink tube over the exposed pins. Apply some dielectric grease to the connectors and insert the pin harness into the factory harness in the 3 holes with metal pin slots, making sure you line up both red wires on the end. Now plug in your LED reflector. Push the ignition start button to make sure it turns on, and then hit the blinker to make sure the chaser works. Then unplug your reflector. Slide the shrink tube up and over the OEM connector as far as you can, and use a heat gun to shrink the tube nice and tight. Now align the new LED reflector over the mounting position and use a marker to mark a wire hole for the wires to pass through. Then, using a drill bit big enough for the connector to fit through, carefully drill a hole into the fender over the mark we just made, making sure that you do not drill through the backside of the fender. Next, clean the service area with the included alcohol prep pad and let that dry before applying the primer tube to the same surface area. After that's dry, slide the LED connector through the hole we drilled. Peel the protective backing tape off the reflector. Now you'll notice that we're not going to be reusing the third screw that holds the rear of the front tip light. Well, that's because Canon, for whatever reason, hid the third screw underneath the reflector. So if you ever needed to remove the front tip light again to access the wiring, you can't, unless you destroy the tape holding your new amber LED reflector. Align it so it's straight, and then carefully press down to adhere it in place. Now connect the harness and plug the tip light back in. Carefully slide it back, making sure not to pinch any wires along the way. Clip it down back into position. And tighten it back down with those two T20 Torx screws. Now if you're adding the red reflector, align it over the reflective sticker that's already there, and make a mark for where the wires need to go. Now move your fender to the side, making sure you have adequate clearance from your tire. Use a drill bit big enough for the connector to fit through, and carefully drill a hole through the fender on the mark we just made. Now peel off the stock reflector sticker. Clean the surface area with an alcohol prep pad. Let that dry, and apply the primer tube. Then wait a couple more minutes for that to dry, and slide the LED connector through the hole we drilled. Peel back the protective backing tape off the reflector. Align it so it's straight, and then carefully press down to adhere it in place. Now we're going to need to drill some small holes a few inches apart along the inside lip of the fender wall so that we can use zip ties to retain the wiring up and out of the way of any and all moving parts. Now use a marker to mark drill holes along the inside lip of the fender wall, and only drill a hole through the first lip and not any deeper. Be careful drilling here, cause you'll want to drill through the first thin layer of plastic only, making sure you do not drill through the top side of the fender. Then insert zip ties and begin running the wire along the inside lip and towards the opening by your front tip light. Now pull out the front tip light wires that we connected earlier from the opening on the underside of the fender. Unplug the white connector from the LED reflector. Add the 2-in-1 splitter. Then plug both reflectors into the other ends of the 2-in-1 splitter. Again, be sure to add a little dielectric grease to all connections, and wrap with electrical tape for added protection. Now cut off the access to all your zip ties. Tuck the wiring back into the opening of your tip light. and use some Gorilla Tape or silicone to seal the hole of your red reflector. Then finally slide your fender back over the tire and tighten it back down into position. Now that we've completed the installation of both Ryker LED reflector kits, I think it's pretty safe to say that they look pretty awesome and will drastically increase your likeliness of being seen out on the open road. Now, if you'd like to take your Ryker from this to this, then be sure to head on over to slingmods.com today and grab one or both of these kits for your Ryker. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so I keep you up to date with everything Ryker. I'm Brandon, signing out. Till next time.